Hi BL enthusiasts, this is part 2 of the spoiler review, so we're getting deep into where their story is really heading. Episode 14 is where emotions finally boil over between Shen Wenlang and Gao Tu, and we really get to see just how twisted, complicated, and painful their relationship has become. The episode starts off tense, with Gao Tu physically weak and ill, leaning against the bathroom door, barely holding himself together. He's pale, sweating, his lips almost turning blue, and this instantly sets the mood. He's fragile, sick, and clearly hiding something from everyone. But the key here is that Shen Wenlang notices. Even though Gao Tu tries to brush it off, Wenlang can't ignore what's right in front of him. The scene where Gao Tu vomits and washes his face is painful to watch because it shows his pride and stubbornness clashing with his vulnerability. He doesn't want Shen Wenlang to see him like this. He tries to push him away with the line, "Could you please go out first? I want to wash my face." That's Gao Tu's classic defense, putting up walls and pretending he's fine when he's clearly not. But the irony here is that his weakness, his flushed face and trembling, actually make him look even more pitiful, and Wenlang can't stop watching. It bothers him deeply. He's frustrated, not just because Gao Tu is sick, but because Gao Tu won't let him in. This episode makes it clear that Shen Wenlang has been watching Gao Tu far more closely than Gao Tu realizes. He's noticed the signs for a while, vomiting in secret, looking distracted at work, avoiding him whenever possible. Wenlang already suspects it's something like gastroenteritis, but his mind starts to spin into darker and more personal fears. And this is where the romance angle really heats up, because it's no longer just about concern, it's about jealousy, possessiveness, and longing that he can't control. The flashback-style narration shows how Gao Tu has been avoiding Wenlang since he moved positions in the company. Gao Tu keeps his distance with professional precision, hiding like a celebrity avoiding paparazzi. But Wenlang doesn't give up. He stages encounters, hangs around the secretary's office, even scolds other staff just for a chance to catch a glimpse of Gao Tu. And the more Gao Tu hides, the more desperate Wenlang becomes. This obsession shows us just how deep his feelings run, even if he won't admit them outright. He can't stand the thought of being shut out of Gao Tu's world. What's fascinating is the push and pull between them. Gao Tu wants distance. He wants to disappear quietly, resign, and escape Wenlang's orbit. But Wenlang refuses to let go. He hovers around him, angry at himself for caring so much, but also furious at Gao Tu for refusing to lean on him. There's a sense of unfinished business here, a relationship that was never properly defined but has always been charged with tension. The episode plays on that tension perfectly. Every glance, every frustrated outburst from Wenlang is layered with hidden affection. One of the most striking moments is Wenlang's thought spiral when he briefly suspects Gao Tu might actually be pregnant. It's such an outrageous thought because Gao Tu is a beta, and the odds are astronomically low. But Wenlang's panic is so raw, so unfiltered, that it exposes something deeper. He doesn't want Gao Tu to belong to anyone else. The mere idea that Gao Tu could be carrying someone else's child makes him furious, almost sick with jealousy. And then he backtracks, telling himself it must just be gastroenteritis, but we as the audience already know what that reaction means. Wenlang's feelings for Gao Tu go far beyond simple concern. They're possessive, emotional, and undeniably romantic. What also stands out is how Wenlang compares himself to the Omega in Gao Tu's life. He's disgusted at how poorly the Omega is treating Gao Tu, letting him suffer without medical care. Wenlang convinces himself that he's better, that he could take care of Gao Tu properly if only Gao Tu would let him. This is where the romantic undertones turn bittersweet. Wenlang genuinely wants to help, but his way of showing it is through frustration, control, and obsession. It's love, but it's messy, unhealthy, and full of unresolved pain. Gao Tu, on the other hand, is exhausted. He doesn't argue, doesn't fight, but his silence says everything. He doesn't want to give Wenlang hope. He doesn't want to let himself fall into that dynamic again. His resignation from the company is more than a career move, it's an escape route. But every time he tries to push Wenlang away, Wenlang pushes back harder. This tug-of-war becomes the heart of the episode, showing us how difficult it is for two people with history, unspoken feelings, and lingering wounds to finally face each other. Episode 14 also uses symbolism beautifully. The mirror scene, with Gao Tu staring at his own weakened reflection, glasses off, face pale, it strips him of his armor. For once, he can't hide behind professionalism or his usual calm demeanor. He's vulnerable, and Wenlang sees that. Meanwhile, Wenlang's reflection in this episode is one of restless energy. He crosses his arms, paces, clenches his hair, filled with emotions he can't name properly. The mirror shows Gao Tu's fragility, while Wenlang embodies turmoil and obsession. Together, it's a picture of two people circling each other but never quite touching. By the end of the episode, Wenlang starts to wonder, what if he just confessed his feelings? What if he laid it all out, told Gao Tu how he really felt? He immediately doubts the possibility, convinced that Gao Tu would never accept it. And yet, that thought lingers, gnawing at him. This is the emotional cliffhanger the episode leaves us on. We know Wenlang is on the edge of doing something drastic, whether that's dragging Gao Tu to a hospital or finally spilling his heart. Either way, it's setting up the next stage of their relationship, one that can't be avoided much longer. So what does episode 14 really give us? It's not just about Gao Tu being sick. It's about how illness strips away his defenses and forces Wenlang to confront his feelings. It's about how love can be both protective and possessive, how caring for someone can blur into controlling them when emotions run too deep. It's about longing, frustration, and the fear of losing someone you can't admit you need. For Shen Wenlang and Gao Tu, this episode is a turning point. The walls are crumbling, the masks are slipping, and their unresolved tension is boiling over. The audience is left with one big question: will Wenlang finally confess, or will Gao Tu slip away for good? Episode 14 doesn't give us the answer, but it makes sure we're desperate to find out. That's episode 14, and wow, this was an emotional rollercoaster. Gao Tu's quiet suffering, Wenlang's spiraling obsession, and that undercurrent of unresolved love make it one of the most intense episodes so far. Their romance is messy, complicated, and far from picture perfect, but that's exactly what makes it so addictive to watch.